Una, any patron at the end of the world at the moment. This is Mr. Shilon, Mohammed Shilon, coming to Una from the state of North Carolina, USA. My co-host, Ms. Fadima, is not going to be present on video, but she may join us on audio by calling in and participating in the discussions for today. Today, May 15, 2022. So we get quite a bit of discussions that we will get for engaging. Also on board is with CEO, Mr. Tarawali, who is helping to fill in the gap of Miss Fadima because of her absence today, or partial absence because she's going to be present on audio but not on video. So that said, everybody's welcome back. We have not been on the air for the past 2 weeks. This is the third week because of important holidays, Mother's Day, as well as Ramadan holiday. So that's why we will not be broadcast, but now we're back. And hopefully we will not be off until some major holiday in the United States again. And that said, I will turn now over to Mr. Tarawali. Let him introduce himself further.
Family on our duo, don't say don't team is on loss, but they joined the team today. Follow, we will talk about some very important things that happen at the country. So thank you again very much, Mr. Shilon, for getting me, for Ona bring me in, and I believe we'll get a very meaningful discussion, and we all go learn from each other today. So thank you again very much, everybody.
All right. Now, today we get some important topics there, but among the most important topic where we get for deal with, now that of whether our main topic is going to be, there is a press called the Africanist press. And one of the journalists that were working at Africanist press, now one Mr. Chernobyl, we can come up with some sensitive, provocative information, not only on the current administration, Sierra Leone, but even the previous administration. Mr. Ba has always held their feet to the fire. That them for do what in promise and then for minimize, if not do away with corrupt practices. And so Mr. Ba has been a thorn on the side of these people. So if, any way possible, and they try for see how they can slow them down or shut them up. So there is a current trend now in the country, or accusation by the government, current government, the BO government, that Mr. Chernobyl and his associates, because he's not the only journalist working for Africanist Press, that some of them disclosures or some of them publications, though for all practical purposes, the disclosures appear to be true because they've been uncontradicted or irrefutable, but the government, the current government, tend to feel threatened by it, and they are claiming that these disclosures could undermine national security. So we are interested in knowing whether people share that view there with the current government, whether the disclosure of certain facts, not necessarily even corrupt practices, just facts being put out there, like salaries for judges and military officials, as well as, comparatively speaking, for teachers and doctors and electoral commission workers. Some of these informations are out there. So, and it seems like there is a wide range of inequality in the payments or salaries being paid to certain people. So whether that of itself, in the government's own view, poses a threat, we don't know. But they, for whatever reason, they tend to think Africanist press poses a threat by disclosing these factual allegations. Now, we also will ask the government, if the government think Africanist press is wrong on some of these allegations, they are welcome to either call in live, which is what this show is all about. You can call and dispute and disagree and inject your own thought process and your own opinion, or you can call later or check with we later and request equal time to refute or rebut or disagree with any information that Africanist press would put out there that they genuinely feel is untrue. So that said, we know say, then the talk say, for example, teachers feel they are grossly unpaid. That's an example, for instance, that the average teacher salary is somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.4 million leones, give and take, considering the rate of the leones in relation to the dollar now. I think the average teacher probably makes about $120 a month. And as we all know, Sierra Leone is not a country where cost of living is cheap. It is high. So $120, using the American colloquialism, is not going to cut it, because a bag of rice takes away, a bag of rice for a family of 4 for a month takes away 50% of that income day of the teacher. And we also know, one foresee, if arguments can be made, that is an adequate amount to pay a teacher, the people who we expect for training with future leaders and give them the adequate, necessary education for the future, because we know life itself is progressive. It's not stagnant. So the people of today, or the pupils of today in elementary, high school, and colleges, are the leaders of tomorrow, regardless of whether we want it or not. None of it today, I know for me, Mr. Shillon, none of us will be around another 50 years from now. Okay? So we get to think in terms of unborn generations and lay the necessary foundation. Part of the necessary foundation for running a country is good education. And with good education, you can figure a lot of things out. You can do critical thinking. You can take necessary steps to meet the challenges of the future. So we wonder if the teachers are being adequately paid. And when we talk about 1,400,000 leones, the majority of teachers are not even getting that. A significant number of teachers get something in the average of about 1 million. Okay, so these are some of the things. And as we speak, on the screen, they show you on the screen, when I will get access to the screen, see the pay scale for judges, for certain other people, within the government. It appears as if the judiciary is being paid very well by our own standard of living. And they appear to be the only group that are being well taken care of. But we do not say there's the judiciary alone. I mean, because running a government is like the operation of a vehicle. The vehicle cannot operate on 3 tires. It has to have all 4, if not a 4-tire vehicle. And it has to have other components, like the engine, like alternator, battery, and on and on and on. So that the same thing, if you pay just the judiciary, good, you leave out the other components of the government or the machinery of government, it will create such an imbalance that the system is not going to run well. I have no objection. I, Mr. Shillon, think judges should be well paid, magistrates should be well paid, law enforcement people should be well paid, police officers should be well paid. To justify being heavy-handed on them for bribery, if they accept bribery or corruption. You cannot say they should not take bribes You cannot say they should not be corrupt if you not give them adequate. And when I talk about adequate salary, adequate income should be enough and beyond, enough for you to feed your family, an average family of 4 at the very least, and be able to put roof over your head and for be able to live at the standard that society expects of you. And when I say that, you know, go get a doctor in the cage poda, in the right keke for go work, you know, get house or apartment where he tap, then we call the man doctor. He cannot live at that standard day. A doctor for be able to get some certain basic amenities them, such as transportation of his own, the ability to be able to rent a comfortable, decent place, the ability to have flexibility to go and come to work and at home. We don't want a doctor where you depend a minimal amount of money where even government medicine, if you work in a government hospital, will get for sale. So these are some of the considerations we get for take into account when we talk about running a government. Okay? And there are so many components then where we not deal with that we should be dealing with, that I don't know how the policy makers get for, whether they get a drawing board, where then they put first the plan, then they debate them and try to think of all possibilities. And so there's so much wrong with the system. So that said, let me just yield a little bit and see if Mr. Tarawale get anything he want to add to what you had just said.
Well, thank you, Mr. Sheila. I think the problem with Sierra Leoneans, we can wait for the problem to happen. Now we begin to look out for solution instead of we figure out the solution earlier before the problem happen. Where the politicians, where they're all in opposition, they get all the answers them to all the problem. Them. They know exactly what the problem, because if you watch back, the same SFP government where they see the Africanist as a threat. When they talk about wage bill during the APC term, how the wage bill was huge. And for people who don't know when the wage bill, now the money where government, the amount of people the government they hire and pay every month, they see I'm say APC term, the government may hire plenty of people and they pay more money. So the government may spend more money on the ministers. So they criticize the APC at that point. Now, fast forward, with that kind of power, they don't hire people and with APC, they don't pay more than the APC. So when you look at, we certainly look at Africanist as a threat. What they do that, if you get closer to the president, this is where, when you criticize the president, you see people talk, say, oh, you're not close to the president, they don't do this. This is where all these things are coming from. Because people feel threatened because of the amount of money they make right now. If you get close to the president and in cabal, you make lots of money right now, heavy money, and nobody knows for our lost that privilege thing at this point. And not so, this is what government after government after government do in Salone. When you get close to them people and they give you so much money, then they pay you 5 or 6 times more. So when they hide them, if you say, because they don't say majority of people are not know how much the president in Kuku they make. Majority of people don't even know how much the president in driver they make. So when you look at what the Africanist press do, they compile all these tier together and show Salone people and say, listen, the person who they cook for the president, they make more than what a colonel at the military they make. This person here, where the guy for the president make more than majority of people in the country just for the guy. You don't need any certificates, not need for a go school, but just because you're closer to the president, and then money they make big money. So now people are now close to the president look and now say, okay, this is not a threat to them, because then they feel say if a colonel, when a top military person, a lieutenant colonel, a major, where then they will control plenty people in the military, look at their salary and say, well, this, first of all, Bio was a former military man. Where he can be promised they can take good care of the military. Then you watch a salary when they pay the toppest people in the military, compared to the closest people when they do almost next to nothing just because they're close to the president. This time, this making a sale is not a threat, because they know say, make what in the African president do right now, make tick off the military, make them come after the president. And if you watch even the salary, they're not able to show you the salary of the bodyguard and they close to the president. These are junior officers and they close to the president. They make more than the top officers in the military. And they get personal privileges where they enjoy, even their family them. So this then tell you look at the finance, they don't lie down, they caught up with them. And they don't really expect say the public go see them. And that's Africanist press they do. For put them to the public say, now this is tell you, but now look what in the happen here. When I pay attention. First where we start with now remember when the first lady come up say all African presidents do not lie, this and that. They may feel say it will go away. But you don't need to start to realize say Africanist is not going anywhere. They go for continue for publicizing them and stuff. They don't fire so many people and feel say this go stop. They don't see nowhere. They don't fire people and the document is still exposed. So now they're not confused because if this thing continue to come out, now it gets to them. Now it gets to them lies. Now it gets to people in the area they don't lie to. Even the closest people when they not tell say, una the watch you, thank you for taking care of we. When they go and they can't find out say if you're not closer to the president, you're not make that kind of money. So even when they talk about the judges, if you don't go back and look at why make them paying the judges so much money, APC tell that make you find out say the courts don't get any dignity in terms of sans manner and case. Because the amount of money, if you remember, Anet Kroma increased the judges the money close to 1,000%. This is the same thing the BO administration is doing now because tomorrow, if in terms of election or the one for disputing result that the result going to court, would I say for win this case? Now the BO administration get for win them. So if they want for staying in power, they go for certain people they go for take care of. This is what they're doing right now. You pick then they pick the cow and they pass the cows and now the market day because they know they don't take for come on. Yeah, so, but the people who look closer for them, whether the police and the military, and also people in the electoral commission. So some of them people they already tell and say they pay them well. So we then document and I for sure say, oh no, and they pay well. So elections they come now. The people go for use for make sure see them keep winning power. This is where the whole thing is coming from when they say like it gets because they're afraid now say they don't like the cut up. But at the end of the day, the judges, then they pay them well because they know so that case can end up in a court. Anytime where we get elections, people don't get for disputes the results. Also, I get for going to court for end up. So if you're not a judge in a court right now, you know, so you they're going to pay you well. So this is the trick of all the politicians because APC do the same trick, SF is doing the same thing. So at the end of the day, if you believe in democracy, these are the same people that they talk say they believe in transparency and accountability, which the presidency. What the Africanist press is doing is just transparency and accountability. But when you not believe your own backyard, you know, say most of it their accountability now for within themselves, you know, because where's the accountability at? There is no accountability. There is no transparency because most of them documented in talk so not when they hide. Because right now, how much the president they pay? How much the president salary in Sierra Leone? He's supposed to be out there. We almost know how much we pay. We don't know. They don't know. But this is the government that all themselves in transparency and accountability. So, the document about this point is it is a threat. It therefore hinder the chance of winning the elections. And they don't know what is going to come out because this point is scarce. Who are the sending documents here? We're looking at right now. Over to Mr. Shilon. Sorry, I think say me video means what you said just now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hello, can I come into this conversation, gentlemen? This is
Yes,
Fatima.
Ms. Fatima, you are quite welcome. Please step in.
Yes, sir. You all are doing a very good job, and I'm proud of all of you. Me people le unakushe unakabo. Today I'm not in a camera because I'm on the road, you know. But I want to join this conversation because this is very important to us Sierra Leoneans. They don't pull a letter say Africanist press na a threat to the national security. Why is that? Africanist press, if you remember, the time of APC, he was working with Mada Bio, President Bio now, when a president, where the same thing, whether they condemn them people here for, they don't can double them. In the beginning, when Africanist press begin pull them thing here, una remember say Mrs. Bio come out and say because he needs job from a man. I want let we remember, let we go back and let we try for this link or the link. But before I say so, last say we dey pray for Dr. Kande Yumkela and his family, because right now in West, Madam Philomena Yumkela, is in very critical condition. Let we pray for him. Let the Almighty God give him medicine, because we get for pray for one another. It's a sad day for them in the family. Then they hope for the best where God can able for do for make it grab come on and sick bed. When we pray for them, because we say pray for one another. Even if you know your enemy, pray for them. But let we come back to waiting they go on right now in our country. Why does this government think say Africanist press is a national security? Because Africanist press is putting out publications where then they give we detail by detail, then they give we proof them, then they show receipt numbers, and nobody from the government can come verify or deny what thing that they deny. They thought Africanist press was going to go away. And Africanist press say he is here to stay. Because now he and them in the first APC. So it give them 1 year in office before it begin for publication. Them it give them warning. It don't just cancel them or tell them. He said, una be not saying that this women the fed for. But una don't can now, una don't double the wages, una don't conservative, reckless spending, fiscal indiscipline. The people of Sierra Leone, una they give raise to the one that wanna feel say go side una. It is form of bribery. Una they bribe the people them for let them go able there una side. Una they bribe lawyer, una they bribe right now, they don't increase the people there, even to the driver where they know in a neck, they don't increase the wages of neck. Everything then they select the people that were in favor. It is like they're trying to rig the election before time they come for election. That is why they're giving people that are gonna favor and what they therefore need for the election for let them people here so go come. That is why they see Africanist press as a national security. Right now, it don't turn chuk under their foot. They don't know what for do. And this letter, it was not the office of the president that pulled them out. It was Africanist press. Now the government is wondering, how did Africanist press get a hold of this press conference before they release them? Africanist press beats them to the game that they're trying to make him. And according to Africanist press, he say, if you been there at then country, they will not respect rule of law. Then go catch and they send a Salone for let them go torture him, na Pademba Road or beat her and kill him or set him out. But thank God, according to Africanist press, they cut out what he say. He said, but thank God he did then go come for can swam for let them go get way for swan America and he ready because the organization Africanist press is not only made of him, it get the people there also Americans them where they walk by his side, where they do research, where they do investigation. Everything is solid. It they wait for them for let them come. And this me people them, it is not about party. It is about Sierra Leone. President Mada Bio promised we a new direction. President Mana Bio promised we for fight for corruption. But we see the SEC, it a cherry pick the one the way they fight. We go for count to the mayor side where they reach there. I will give Mr. Shilon the chance because then they pant up. But we Sierra Leoneans, I want to tell me people and say this is not about party. This is about the well-being of the future of the country. And when we journalists they work, then they pay na Salone, not able for talk. The one that way then are do they able for talk and waiting one thing elect for Africanist press. He is not just saying, he is bringing out with evidence. And nobody in the government not able to debunk him. He don't send letter, he invites them for come. Some of them tell us, let's send a written letter. He has sent it, but nobody's responding. But then now, they're not able to shut them down because we the Salone people, they forget. Because we feel so we not deserve better life. We feel so we people, they're not for live good. We feel so we not deserve dignity of life. So this is the problem here, my people. And while we think, and while we look, this is not about party. The Mende man in picking the suffer, the Timini man in picking the suffer, the Loko man in picking the suffer, the Madinga, the Yolonka, the Kowanko, the Fula, the Frobe, the Creole, the Kono, the Gizi. All the tribe then are Sierra Leone, if I miss you now, sorry for me. But they all, the Limba, they all they suffer. Everybody is suffering Where we government, they know they do waiting for do. This is fraud, waste, and abuse, and we also frown on them. And this is what they do. They shut people up because they don't want people for tongue. For the longest time, we the Sierra Leone and them, we don't shut up and say how for do. This is 2022. It's not how for do. We get for put people that were able to fix with government. Not in the one the way they talk, where they say, that's all we go do. When they come, they forget the promises of the people. The people are suffering in silence. The people cannot speak. The people cannot say. Now they want to shut Africanist press down because that's the only reliable thing where they send them and expose the things the way that they do, the salary them, the indifference of salary, the big gap, they're not able for level them. Then they give teacher, then they say teacher them. Na quality education, President Biofo promised the teacher them. When the teacher they want come out for saying that this they want equal pay, they want for silent the teacher them. This is because Africanist put them out there say judges are getting paid. How many hundreds of millions of leones for allowance, for housing allowance? When the teacher, they want to teach every day, the teacher, they want to bring the quality education to the people, them, they don't want to allow them. So I left una first, let una continue, they come back and they listen. So me people, them, this is not about politics, this is about for change, for bring we come out, usha we day. Una remember, Mugufuli Duam, without anybody money, no government or other country not put on the resources we bring common and ground for Sierra Leoneans. It should be shared among Sierra Leoneans. They should provide things them for every Sierra Leonean able for live in dignity. So this is my frustration. So unalo we not say na APC, me not there for APC, me na Salone are there for anybody where they push Salone go before. And Salone welfare, me are they behind you. No matter which party you there. So I left you first, Mr. Shilon. Are they listening and I go come back? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fadima. We greatly appreciate your contribution and participation, despite the fact that you're not there on location as usually as you can be. Yeah, going back to, so the issue is, and people, the lines are open. You're free to call for give us your own feedback, whether regardless of your political views, but we try to emphasize, this show always emphasize that we are more interested in national interest, not political party interest. Because as I, Mr. Shilon, have always said, the problem we get in Australia, too many people are not able to rise above political party affiliation. Okay? They see everything through the lens of which party you belong to. So, but one thing we will have to be very careful about, we cannot give up with critical thinking. Like you poor, like you not get education. God give you common sense where you can see things and you can able for figure things out. So all we are saying here is simple. And I keep saying this. If you insist, this is Mr. Shilon's position. If you insist that SFPP is a better political party in terms of governance to APC, or APC was a better party to the current party in power, you still don't get it. And you still don't understand the problem of Sierra Leone. And we will still continue to suffer because we don't want to engage in the level of thinking that we must engage in, and that is that thinking of knowing which is good and which is bad for we. When you begin to side with somebody because you belong to the same tribe, you come out from the same part of the country, you go to the same secondary school, you are completely, of course, you're missing the point. Now, naturally, people always will side with people who do the wrong things for a variety of reasons. Some people don't have that compass there, that balance. Because with some people, even if I benefit from wrongdoing, from other people's wrongdoing, that still doesn't take away the fact that I should be aware that something is wrong. If somebody to go thief somebody money to give me, So I get money in my pocket all the time. And I know so this person that person the money the thief. Well, I might be loyal to that person who the thief and give me. I might get a lot of praises for him. But I shouldn't lose sight of the fact that that person did do wrong, because somebody else in labor, the thief can't give me for free. So that sense of balance, then I will not understand. There are too many of us. We see, oh, APC be to do such and such, therefore SFPP for do it. SFPP be to do such and such and such, and therefore APC had all right. We keep telling people we have to be very concerned about the future of the country. We get two main political parties. We lead this country from independence and shortly after independence. Okay? And we have not seen much of, we will not see any, not too much. Again, I challenge people then for call we and tell we, Mr. Shillon, you're wrong. Since independence, here are the progresses we've made. We really welcome the idea and they say, oh, you're wrong. Where the white man be left with, we'll be very poor. Since we black man take over, we do so well. Where the white man be left with, we education not be good. Since we begin rule we self, oh, things are great. I mean, since where the white man be there with we not get water, we get blackout all the time. Come up with the evidence. But since we begin rule we self, oh, water and electricity there in abundance. We cannot do that. We are unable to demonstrate that evidence there. It's clear that since we took over from the white man, things have gone in not only completely opposite direction, but for the worse, our standard of living has dropped significantly. We professionals are not being dealt with fairly. The economy has been terrible. Things we used to produce, we are unable to produce. Things like rice, what we use for producing adequate quantity. We're not even the producer now. We know we get a one-all university, agricultural university. When I was home, it was supposed to be an affiliate of University of Illinois. It should have been one of the leading agricultural universities in West Africa, if not in Africa. None of that has materialized because we inject politics into everything. We medical system has not improved. You know, it's gotten worse. With judicial system, with court system has not improved, both physically and intellectually. You go now the court, the main courthouse, na Freetown or na Shaka Stevens Street. It's an embarrassment. Anybody who know anything about modern courtroom and the physical structure of courtroom has nothing to be proud of about. You get a one judicial courthouse that does not even have elevators, tight winding staircases, you know, and no central air conditioning. And then and I want people to understand this. So we are not putting down the nation. We are saying these are things we are capable of having, we deserve. So for when I want to make case of say, oh, we need to put down the country, it's nonsense. We are saying we way overdue then things there, then luxury here, if you call it luxury. There is no reason why we courtrooms, they not forget air conditioning. There is no reason why we courthouses, they not forget escalators and elevators. There is no reason why we not forget a lot of amenities. There is no reason why we courts, they not forget court clerks, you know, and stenographers who are on paid salary and for that digitized we system. We just refuse for accept progress, and everything is at a standstill, you know. And we are so lacking in with creativity, even papers. I do immigration work. The papers then what we get, the birth certificates of today, is that the birth certificates designed from colonial days. What is our problem? We get official birth certificates that are handwritten, not typed, not computerized. And we say we get a civil service system. We're still living in the 17th century, and I will say 19th century. So these are some of the things we complain about. Then when somebody come out, they expose them here, they become enemies. We have reached a point now in Australia where competence, progress have become enemies to tranquility and peace. If you're progressive, if you come up with good ideas, you don't become an enemy of the nation. You should just go in and join the corrupt practices. So where do we think this is going to take us? These are some of the things that what would they complain about, what would they talk about. So going back to the Africanist press situation, are they really a threat to the security? In reality, and now the government itself might feel threatened because of the extreme imbalance of pay ranges. I can see that when a colonel in the army is making as much, if not a little less, than a senior driver, the electoral commission, or a dietitian for certain people is making more than a college professor who works for the government, and the dietitian also works for the government. The dietitian, they make 3-4 times than the professor. There is something wrong. Isn't the purpose of these guys coming in and claiming they want for going to government for provide leadership? So why are they complaining now when they come in, they show gross incompetence, incapability of carrying what they say? Then they don't want to let the people and talk about that. And this is the reason why people like us have been so opposed and have been so unimpressed about all them big degrees coming in that have not done anything because the taste of the pudding lies in the eating. You know, you come with all the PhDs, but let us know what your PhD can produce for we. Well, I would know what you acquire throughout this journey in education. Come and show we say you can make a difference for good, not a difference for the worse, as we're saying. And there are a lot of things we get for accept. So those who still are hung up on party politics, APC, SAPP, you guys don't get it. If you are killing yourself for APC, you've missed the point. And if you're killing yourself for SAPP, you just don't understand Salone politics. And people like you are a disaster to the country because the country is never going to ever go anywhere progressively. You know, because you people miss the point. It's when we begin to look above and beyond party politics and look at competence and ignore the tribe from which a person comes, the person with ideas. Now that person we need to lead. The person will get leadership capability, who has a vision, who can articulate that vision there, and ways sound believable, that, yeah, given the opportunity, he will make a difference in the lives of people. And let me remind everybody now, too, just as Mr. Charles, Ms. Fadima said, poverty, everybody in Sierra Leone is stricken by poverty. And poverty is not by tribe. Again, I ask for evidence. If you can show me, if you say you're not SFPP, tell me, say your life, if you're not Salone, your life better now than before. I mean, come up with the evidence, show it. If you're not be teacher, you're not SFPP, you be to make 5 million a month now, you be to make 2 million, 1 million a month, now you to make 5 million. If you're not teacher, if you're not this or that, you're not SFPP, that under an Escoroma, you're not able to do that well, but you make, it's not happening. Because these leaders, these guys who are running the show don't give a damn about whether you are Minde, Limat, Kotimini, SFPP, APC. It doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is raw power and the ability for control incoming finances, such as grants from international organizations, from the IMF, and the ability for be able to tie the country down into debt. They don't care about providing employment. They don't care about the future of certain people. This is the thing this is the point we're trying to get across to a lot of people. Forget about this party politics. I still see a lot of young people there. The other day I was looking at my APC membership card. I was surprised. I had stumbled into it. You know, I think it says 1966 or 67. You know, and I'm saying, man, I mean, way back when these were the golden years compared to now, and we haven't made one step forward. And I should be stupid enough to start praising APC, you know? I do not understand where people are coming from. But that said, I mean, we can beat this horse to death for quite a while. But we get other topics that we want to deal with. But anybody we want for calling, you know, when I know the numbers are reflected on the screen, you know, from WhatsApp, you know, to the 1-800 numbers, please call in. If you get ideas, if you disagree with we, you know, say, differing opinion or disagreement is always welcome. Just be respectful, state your case, you know, and if you suspect, because there have been times, somebody tell me, once upon a time, I made some comments and certain people say, oh, Mr. Shilon, I said, SFPP. Well, you're welcome to that opinion there. Just give you a reason why you feel that way there. I mean, I'm capable of defending myself if I have to defend myself. Okay? And the same thing, if you feel say Mr. Shilon or APC, you're welcome to the idea, but just state it. But don't come up with spacious thing. We talk about what is good for country. If you don't get anything for contribute in terms of ideas, in terms of suggestions, then you're just as bad as the very people who want to criticize, you know? And this thing about, well, let me people them. And so let me move on to another area, because now at the very country, we are seeing extreme and unconstitutional, well, arrest them, suggest say unconstitutional. We see a situation involved, well, first of all, I always remind people, the continued imprisonment of the MP guy by the name of Kamarimba is bad, is wrong, it's not good for the country. It projects a bad image of the country. I mean, we cannot be so merciless as to keep a person in jail for years on the basis of an accusation. And then we are talking about democracy. It's an insult to the idea of democracy itself. And our judges are comfortable with that. Kamarimba had at one time been granted bail. Then they say from some power above. There should not be any power above the judiciary. The Chief Justice should be the most powerful person within the judiciary. So when one of the designees them as a judge, say somebody is entitled to bond and bail and to be released, power from above should come from nowhere and continue for detain that person there. You get this invisible hands. It's dangerous. It's bad. It's not a good practice. I don't know Mr. Kamarimba, you know, but if we care anything about law, we care anything about peace, we care anything about tranquility, we care anything about trying to do what is right, we care anything about promoting law and order, you cannot indefinitely keep somebody in jail or in detention without trial and think it's such a good idea. You know, so I think the opposition should always make this a sounding drum beat every time for bring it up, because a threat to anyone is a threat to everyone. It shouldn't matter whether somebody is an APC, is an SFPP person. A good example I should give is like Professor Kutubu do a broadcast recently, a radio broadcast, when I understand that a gentleman called Alpha Saido Bangura, when an SFPP guy, I don't know whether he works for the current government or not, but I know he's a spokesperson for the SFPP, went to a funeral apparently a funeral with some political implications. But this funeral where you go, now one of your relatives. And certain people think, say, that funeral, they now political funeral that SLPP person offer did it, which is outrageous. Okay? And for no apparent reason, then go and attack this man because he's SLPP, na in family in funeral. Well, if we care anything about Salone, not only should we condemn such an act, the people who do this kind of things should be held accountable. They should be charged. They should be prosecuted. You know, you cannot encourage them kind of a lawlessness there. What's the point in having a constitution if we individuals will get the power for restrict people in movement and in speech? You see? So this gentleman was beaten up. We also hear about a converse thing will take place by some other guy who will be named Numa, who in Bo, one thing led to another. He was falsely accused of having stayed at the hotel where the president be there, the former president, and they presume other things. Next thing you know, he was attacked by some vigilantes, some hooligans, and beat the man and injured him to the point of which he never recovered. Listen, now the kind of leaders in this one, the SLPP and APC, and as I've always said, APC and SLPP, somebody needs to convince me. Two sides of the same coin. One thing when I get in common, incompetence. They cannot run a government. They just can't. Now, they might outdo each other in terms of stealing government money because they get different techniques. How for let the money disappear and appear. But as far as running a government, show me where the competence, where any one of them don't demonstrate, either one of them. Now, what you will get an active situation where the current government is really going after capable people like the mayor, capable people like the Auditor General. I mean, they have declared war on responsibility and competence. And is this, and the party then this where people are want for join? And like I keep saying, it's no consolation. So President Bio not being in power and replaced by APC, what difference will it make? It's one of the same things, just the same coin you flip on the other way. Same value, same worthlessness. Nothing's going to change until we begin to address the issue and get rid of some of them people there where they vow for political power. What we can see by the actions, that there will be nothing but danger to national security. So that said, I don't want for domination.
Mr. Salone, let me go. Let me come in for a second, sir.
You're quite welcome, Mr. Fadima.
Yes, sir. I see you mentioned that Alpha side issue. When they go now begging, it is not about begging where everybody get right for go give the last respect to whoever die, whatever the person mean to anybody. But again, Alpha side, I don't send a thing. If the technical team, I just send the thing to the personal page of the technical team back in where Alpha side will self talk. I think Professor made a mistake a little bit because I corrected him this morning. I told him, say, Lansana Fadika, sorry, is Samora Kamara's campaign manager. So Alpha side will self come up, and there are people when they get this. This is not about party. Yes, Zulai been there. Let God sorry for outside there. Condolences to a family. Zulai been there, APC, na APC woman, na deputy minister, na this, na that. But I get fumbled there with the SLPP, na Sierra Leonean. And because of the relationship, Alpha Saidu has rights. But then there are few people when they see life this day, and this is the problem. Okay, there are people that not everything they see is according to political lens. People are gonna be like that. We're gonna have some of these people, but we try for clean the mindset of our people. Let them know, say, listen, This is not about party. There are things where campaign time come, let we talk about politics. But there are things we should not talk about politics. And I want to commend my brother Fasaidu, we come out and say, Samura Kamara and Lansana Fadika, and then pull and come out today. And that is in the voice of Afasaidu himself. And this is not a doctrine tape because I know Afasaidu. I grew up with Afasaidu, I sabi Afasaidu, and I know him voice. And even he even talked behind the scene yesterday. So it was him that said, yeah, even Kutubu talked behind the scene yesterday. So this is a message that he gave. And I want to play him because but I want to say some people go there, we're not go see anything without they not put APC or SLPP. And this is what has destroyed us for the longest time because we allow such thing for keep going. People they don't know how to keep their emotion. They want to violate other people they right in the name of parties. We get them on both sides. It is not one person. We get these kind of people on both sides of the aisle. And this is what we want Sierra Leoneans for no say. That those people, the man when not they speak, in they express himself, other people, them, a few other people, them were there. And Alpha Saidu don't make a statement because I want to play that statement today. Let una yagi what Alpha Saidu say. Because in the voice of Alpha Saidu.
Nobody no fit me. July we die, let God get good gold na my sister. So we go for go bury na Kisi Road, Bengwan. Then the Imam ask me for pray. As I begin, then the begin hala hala. So me, Samura Kamara, Lansana Fadika, we all come on and do. And I'm glad the way Samura Kamara tell them, say what and do so, you know right. So come on, nobody no fit me, nobody no beat me. And it just show no more say some people and they don't know how to behave in the public. Because if person die, not to tell them for go make hala hala. Now for pray for them, ask for forgiveness for them. But when some people don't know what to for do, let God guide them.
Yeah, so another year first side doing self me people them. This is not about APC. My own mission here, and I can talk for Mr. Shilon as well. It is to sensitize the people. Let we come up at that mindset there. Because if anybody suffer, when them two governments here not they do right, and this present government is not going to do, I don't mean the advocate. Anybody we're not doing work, una pull life, you know, right for now. Una put other one, if other one camp or other party back, they not do the work in 5 years. Una pull them, una begin pull the we not say we're not happy with what's in the gone. We deserve better. We Sierra Leone and them 1% or 2% of the population not go they live good. What the rest of the population will they live substandard. We don't have lights, we don't have nothing. All them here where they clap for them people here. All them loan they they give it. All them grants now people them money now people in country where they pay tax. 9-day organization how they take the give it because the world they want for let the world day in a way where too much poor because now they corruption they boku side too much poor. If they give we leader them, when they give we leader them, they give we crumbs for it. They eat na the table. We they under they like dog. They pick the crumb they wait sorry for we then give. We clapping for these people because they build roads, they build bridges, they build after 1 mile road, 2 mile road. Yeah, this why I don't try. Yeah, they are eating. This is not well okay. If they don't use their one, then they money. They waiting and they do with real money. Where they pull at the ground, where they dig the iron ore, the timber, the diamond, the bauxite, all the other thing them. And then we don't begin get oil in a salon. They not dig it no more, but the oil, the thing them. All what in they do. One particular people and get monopoly of everything. That's why we don't have free market now. Then they talk about Wataki, then the sky container, then they. I mean, how long are we gonna live like this? How long do we? Is this the life you deserve? You born poor, you mama born poor, you granny born poor. Then you pick away the born back the meat poor. Now that day we want. When America, then country, yeah. Then they say wait man bad, but now bad to we safe. When white people ready, then go space. One man, 9 volunteer in life, say, I they die for me people. For let the generation them beyond me get good life. All waiting with the console because one man go Apollo, then see say possible for go space, then begin build, then spend money, then put all things. What do they use so now? America don't use on 20 years ago. Now then they far ahead of we, but they're not the share it to tell them get new one. Then they go before pass we they be no more. What we done, we they blame the wet man, they not make colonialism. But when they left what we put on we safe. We make we say party them against us. No, we get for left this thing. What we see through and we call them. with people there, with country, is substandard. They after what and they put, oh, they don't do this, and it good. It good for development. But we could have done more. When the other rest of the money they're waiting and they do with Africanist press, they tell we. But people then they were the cost Africanist press. Just like and Dr. Lai came out there and talk about this fake degree. This fake degree, these people have made it a habit for years. Not a matter beyond tell beginning. It don't tell where they depend this fake degree. We have become lazy. We want to achieve, we want to acquire, but we don't want to work. And the Bible or the Quran will tell we say, hard work. If you don't work, you not go eat. Anything where you not work for, you not go get collapse panam. This is what they do. They make money, then they go there western, then come back. Other one, then they fight for kind of power. All dirty, rotten politicians, they will not do nothing for develop. With the support they will behind them. With the Allah behind them. But we they suffer. With people that they suffer. Some of we, I can always say, the war, way up in Sierra Leone for some people because we don't come way before the war. And we all can stuck in our people country because what you do, long term, what we want people then go learn, then go back in Africa. Long term, people then they go, but are you they go? Are you they go to a country where you not feel safe? Are you they go to a country where every day blackout? Are you they go to a country where good water no day for drink? Are you they go to a country where the people they lawless? Are you they go to a country where you not get freedom for you able to express yourself what you know right? Are you go to a country where you not feel safe? Many faults of Sierra Leone that it's not been fixed, it's not been addressed. So why do we have to continue as Sierra Leoneans? Why do we have to continue to be in this kind of situation? This is why I speak. This is why I stand as a nationalist for trying to fix the wrongs of our people, fix the mistakes of the past, and then we move forward. We have to go forward because we are not as Sierra Leoneans moving forward. We have to move forward because we picking them, we grand picking them. The country where I grew up, the dirty where I eat, the play, cook where I play, the ground that I say, my own grandson cannot be able to go there and thrive. Some people they try for go. We see people that we don't live here, then go, we then come. 6 months, they don't tire, they don't come back because how can you be the mental state? It is not conducive. It is not conducive. Even if you get good in Usha you day, your next neighbor, if you care about your company, the next neighbor not they get the same way. It bothers you, it torments you. You don't get comfort. You have worked all your life. There's no comfort. When they're done, they say, hey, wait man, they can for study you, observe you, and can't take from you and waiting. But we were there, we fight ourselves, we pray the matter for the wait man. Now they say, Mr. Shilon, they have said the Peace Corps is coming back according to American Embassy. The Peace Corps is coming back. What does Peace Corps do? We think Peace Corps are coming to help us. We think Peace Corps are coming. When they say, hey, look at them Peace Corps, then they can't Salone, then they can't sit down yonder, then sit down at that corner there. Guess what? Those Peace Corps that come, every night they go in there to their rooms, they have their book, they have their journals, they write. They learn from you, they take there, they go develop it, they come back, they can sell on 50 times more. That's what that is. We feel said and they can't help we, but we not able to take care of we safe. We say we want independence 61 years later. We way behind. What did we left for? We everything. Standard Chartered Bank gone. The last one now we're standing. Everybody's packing their bags and going because everybody is there to gain and make improvement. But if you know they see improvement, what should they do? The president hires people. It pleases the president to hire people, but it don't please the president for fire people the way they do wrong. And that is my frustration with President Bio. President Bio has been silent, and silence means content on some things, some behaviors. Them now the SEC don't go after the city council, the mayor. In my perspective, in my eyes, if I in my own way, I'm not being balanced. This is how I see it. You might see it different, but this is to me, you are targeting people that are doing the work and proving the point, and doing work and have things to show for it, but you targeting them because you see them as a threat. The same thing for Lara Taylor Pierce. The person where they say they do all the best work, we go there, we have rivals like the Olayinka Blindings, because they cannot appreciate or they feel saying that they're not one of the big kid on the block. Now there are new kids on the block that are getting the recognition. Some people cannot stand it. They go there, they connive, They go there, they sell them birthright for Cocoa Ebe. They all say they care about Salone, but it's not about Sierra Leone here. It is about the individual and it is about the self. So me people, let me own way, me own message now where me they give every day. We get for wake up. We get for see the truth as it is in the thing. We get for call white where it white. We get for get the courage. For call these people when they're wrong, they are not gods. They are just people that we have chosen to take care of us. They are just people that we say, okay, we trust in you. But if they're not performing, just like any big corporation in the United States that have lived over 35 years, going on 40 years, just the big, when you go, you are not, they add to the company, then they give you probation period. When you're not adding and making improvement, then they tell you, then give you the pink click, sorry, we sorry, but they go with the mission of the company. But our presidents, they sit there, they hire people, then they exploit substandard work of the ministers, but yet he keeps them in place saying they're doing a good job. The president said he don't finish all the manifesto, he don't give we bunya. Una check for una self. Una go na them village them. Una go na them tongue them. Left the city because the city is after 15 days. Una go there, let una see the life of una people them. Una once let una people them there, so una don't can oversee, especially we that are in the diaspora. Una wants every 10 una there for red carpet una go na una village we picking don't come there for they under una. Una no one let una sister and una brother then thrive and grow and become a better person, independent people, self-sufficient people. We see people with degrees. They don't go for a big college. The society asks of them for be a good citizen. You get for go land book. You get for do this. You do that. They have done everything, but they could not thrive in society because the environment not gets the playing field. It not gets equal playing field. Usai people then go thrive. Usai business go thrive. Usai people then go grow. We are not allowing our people to go because we want them to be substandard and be in that standard where they're going to use we and fool we and big fool we. Unale we wake up Sierra Leoneans. Unale we ask for more. Unale we ask for better life. We deserve better as Sierra Leoneans, Mr. Shilon. We deserve better. Because the mayor in your case, Mr. Shilon, I don't want to jump before you, but let me put that there before I give you a chance again. The mayor in case to me, it's like my question is, are they rigging the election before the election?
Hello? Okay, I don't know what happened with Miss Fadima in sound. I hope the control room will take care of that. So control room, if when I take care of that, at any point you can interrupt me. Because she just went dead silent. In the meantime, let me go ahead and take a call. Maybe in the meantime, control room will figure out what happened to Miss Fadima. In statement will be made. So Miss Fadima, you're welcome. I have no idea whether you hear me or not, but if you do, please, after taking this question or this call, one call, at least one call, then I will. You can come in. Hello, caller. What's your name? And who's you call from? Hello, caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? And who's you call from? Hello. Or are we having sound problem? Control room, will you please give me an idea whether we're having a problem with the sound? Whether the caller is hearing? Okay. Well, so I assume that we sound system is on, that the audience or the listeners are hearing me. So I would just take over from Mr. Ms. Fadima left. But before that, we do have Mr. Tarawali, who I think will have to leave a little early So, Mr. Tarali, if you're still on board, and I would like for people to understand how this show is broadcast, so people will understand. We produce in Canada, we get me in North Carolina, you get me co-host in Texas. So we are at different locations. So we're not like in one studio. So sometimes we are not able to be immediately decide or pinpoint the problem. Okay, so I want people to know that we are hundreds, if not thousands of miles away from each other when then happen. So, but I can switch to a call. If the caller is on that I wanted to take, I'll be more than happy to go ahead and take the call. Okay. So, hello, caller. Any caller? All right. Well, let me go back to what Ms. Fadima was talking about. These are the problems. Sometimes you can tell by Ms. Fadima in voice and in delivery, the frustration, the reluctance of people to do right, and the resistance to progress and good ideas. You just wonder, what are we made of? And sometimes I've been telling the producer recently, I said, the producer, there are certain things we see on YouTube and other outlets, news outlets, that we get for telling with people about. Because if we don't do that, we're not doing what we're supposed to do. Let me make comparison. Australians, them, when the APC, the SA people, back when I really fully appreciate the nonsense of them. Gambia, small Gambia, that has no mineral resources, population of less than 1 million people, who barely, the only industry they have from which they've made so much progress has been what you call themselves? Okay, the word escaped me. But people that talk say Gambia gets tourism. I'm sorry, the word tourism escaped me. Gambia, the only thing they get is tourism, but they've developed their tourist industry to a point where it has become a lot more productive. Okay, and we have maybe 5 times or more as many beaches as Gambia. And without trying to put the country down, we get much nicer beaches than Gambia. But yet they've been able to do far more progressively. And the word progressive matters in our country, in our own context, than we've been. Compare Gambia then currency to we. Gambia then currency to $1 is within the range of about $200 to $1. Sierra Leone, almost 13,000 leones to $1. And we brag, we get this big brag and we land book past everybody in the world. Now we are the most educated, we get all degrees from all over every university. We cannot even do what in Gambia are capable of doing. You know? Gambia is doing far better than we economically. They don't get no mineral resources. They don't get no agricultural resources. And yet they're doing well. The educational system is still well structured. You know? And the civil service is in good hands in Gambia. And they're still giving position to people who are capable, not to people who have connections only. And yet, we are just not taking matters seriously. You know, and when you talk, people want to talk about tribalism or party politics. That is not doing anybody any good. We need to understand that. You know?
Mr. Shilon, sir. Mr. Shilon.
Yes, Ms. Fatima, I was feeling in because
yeah, I know. I got a phone call that came in and it messed me up. But yeah,
Okay.
you're talking about Gambia. I just want to add, then you continue. Gambia just did I put a tweet out there. If the technical team can put it up, you're talking about education. You're talking about growth. This is a country, we're not the smallest country in our West Africa. This is a country that have no much, but education, now we country, they all been the camp for a land book. But they did their first brain tumor operations in Gambia successfully. These are the things we talk about because the one day where they empower care about growth. They are not perfect, but they're doing things. We then build one road from here to yonder, 1 mile, 2 mile road. We clap, we dance, we waiting and collect, say they don't give you the world. Yes, infrastructure is very important because infrastructure connects the world. Yes, bridges are important. Yes, it is important. But look in Gambia today, I would ask the technical team because I sent the tweets to them. Can they please put it up? Let we the Sierra Leone and NCC, the people of Gambia, the doctors in Gambia did their first now microscope they use for do a brain surgery, for pull a tumor that somebody in brain when a life threatening in the Gambia, the Republic of Gambia, West Africa, they don't do their first successful brain tumor surgery. So we the people, we they make mediocrity, we they make them lie fake, we they make what in and call what is important because these are the things where we seek. They one that when not get money, the half money where they get, they go able to go hospital to doctor. They are providing the medical school. They providing. We get medical school. They will not get equipment for the doctor. They learn and train. How we go get the best in the world? We have, these are the things we should be putting the money into. When they allocate money to ministries, we governments they get for make sure, then put them on it and they will go bring development. But the minister they don't care some standard. We need for begin pull for the money because what did Ghana do when we have this recession going on all over the world? It cuts down wages. All the extra money where the minister, the departments, they what they call they get, it cut them. Why make it cut them? For let them put them for subsidize, for a buffer the sufferness of the people. That's what smart government do. We get minister of finance, we get bank manager. What are they doing? They're getting paid. They're getting paid way more than what they do. They're getting paid way than the work that they are doing. So it is like we get for deserve. We deserve. I want to get that mindset. Una left this thing out for doing so God saying God they choose a leader. No. God does not choose a leader for no we can't suffer. Now we they make up with mind and choose people them where they are the interest of the people, where they bring growth to your life, change your environment, give a future hope for the generations to come. The next generation of Sierra Leonean, I hear me family picking they say, oh, they don't do this, and they tweet all over the place. Yes, it is good to have few successes, but enough of be few success. If a big majority of the people, yes, not to their fault, waiting their meet, because the other government they don't neglect what's important. But at the same time, una flagship program. Let them left on life per we and show we half better thing and then put on day. It is not like they're talking about it like, oh, we've hired this, we have it, but you're not paying the people. The teachers have been going 6 months without pay. The teachers have been asking for things. They promise the teachers, but they're not delivering what they promised the teachers. But yet they are giving raises, they are giving increments to themselves, to the one that will matter, and to the one that will go able for influence and make influence to the times that they need us. That is what they are doing. They are doing to the Electoral Commission, to the driver get money than the professor in college, according to Africanist Press. According to Africanist Press in publication where put out there, we get discrepancies in wages. A teacher, a PhD professor, will legally go school, at least 10 years of college, he don't get him PhD, he's an educator. It can teach for personal knowledge. But if you don't attract quality, you will not have quality education. If you don't attract quality, you will not have quality life. Because what you accept, now in the universe they bring to you, now in the world they bring to you. How they see you now, Aujo, Now so then they give you dirty pot for was and pan for was. That is life. And we have to desire more. We have to want more. We got to stop blaming. Oh, it's these people, they didn't do this. Oh, it's these people. No. If you demand it, you will have it. Because whatever you put out there, the universe brings it to you with your efforts. When you put effort into anything you want in life, the universe brings it to you. Let we know that, let we get that mindset. Let we get that mindset. Let we left that African mentality. How for do? Now so God say, one day. No. Not to so God in for we. God not desire for we for day and poor. God not desire for we for day backward. God not desire for we all say we not get dignity, we go bigger. Then go give waiting they want, then tell we how for do. Then tell we waiting not even good for we, but with people they accept them. Put with generation, 3-4 generation where they for come in debt. With people then. This is not about party. This is about country to me. I'm telling you, this is about country. If God completes the hearts of man, He put her out there for let the world see. Now go see me heart say, it is not about country. And let me get this disclaimer here. I don't want a job. I am not looking for a job. I don't want to be anything of government. But I have to speak to social injustice. That is my passion in life. It is social injustice I cannot stand. We get for team up. We get for speak out. So we people the way they put in. The substandard of the work of the ones that we is substandard work. It's substandard. Nobody is asking a question. Our parliament is dead. Buffing nothing, but they're getting paid. And these you are supposed to represent, or they're betraying us in parliament. Every party, our people are the Usai for talk, they're not a talk. They are settling for foolishness and rubbish. There is no standard. There is no integrity. And when standard and integrity don't disappear, everything else goes. Lawlessness, everything else goes. So the people become lazy. Everybody is looking for a handout. Everybody just expect, they just for Kangia entitlement. Now we turn for it. Who side entitle? Now they go eat. Now we turn. Now we on then our governments now. You know that na me, others from above. All this rubbish we get for stop man. If we want for go better, me now all are they also 59 now they also next month. By God's grace. I don't leave, I don't eat bokures. For the young one then to come. For a country where we go thrive. For a country where some of us go back as our old age and enjoy. That same dirty will be the waka be a food. That same play cook will be the make. That same boat kiddie will be the play. That same adai will be the play. Now children cannot even be children. They are selling our young girls for go be slaves in the Arab world. Selling, trafficking our young girls because of poverty, all because of poverty, taking advantage. Now we young black people, they're not a wet man. Now we young black people, and they sell we sell. Like how them be do for slavery. Now the same thing that they do to we right now. Una dip and substandard, una say God day. God day. There is a God. There is a force greater than all of us. Everybody gets a name where they call them in your own way. To each his own. But in life, if you master this, that in life you attract what you put out. If you desire nastiness will come to you. Substandard will come to you. But if you put your effort and you walk through stuff, the universe finds a way. It is the law of life. It will find a way to bring it to you. We have to change. We have to demand. We have to ask questions. These people not better pass we. These people not born fine pass we. Them picking them not born fine pass we picking them. They not get blessing pass we. When I can say blessing, when people get half change, we say blessing. They not get blessing pass we. They not born fine pass we. Their mama they not suffer for them pass we. We all not Sierra Leonean, and are we God innate right as citizens of the world. And Usha you fend yourself. For lay yourself, the one the way they before. That's why they choose government. Because everybody not go able for rule. Una choose the best among us who think they are the best. But if they're not doing the work, we get for call them out and we get for take them out. Anyone where they not gone with the roots they like casada, we pull them commode. We put other one. When the other one come back, it don't milk, we roots them back come out. Una change your mind. Yes, party good. It is good to belong. But anything where they hinder you your progress, you people in progress, it's time for take a deep look at yourself and say, am I doing the right thing for my own mankind? Yes, my own life good, but it's my neighbor. Not so religion tell we. We're not religious people them. Religion tell we. He say waiting and call safe. He say we for look out for one another. To be a happy person, the person next to you for be happy because it's infectious, it rub on you. But all time you see plaba plaba by your neighbor, you see sufferness by your neighbor, you see them picking there, it's an energy, it transfers onto you and you become them. Even though you get all the world, but you become them because their problem don't become your problem. That's why we look out for one another. That's why we speak up for one another. That's why we say no. We have to speak up for the one that we not get courage for speak. We will not get courage for speak. We support the one that when they stand up. We support the one them. Africanist should not be our enemy. Afrikaners bed for be a Sierra Leonean where every Sierra Leonean we mean well and we get good conscience for say, hey, this kind of people, unale we support him and stand by him because he is exposing the things that the one that they pay for do, they're not able for do them. They refuse for do them. Show me people them. Now this I get today. And again, I say, we pray for the Yunkela family. Today, 8 o'clock p.m., there is a Zoom that is going around. I'm going to make them post on a VOS on the thing. There is a Zoom going around tonight that at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they're going to do a Zoom prayer for we sister, Madam Philo. This is something, and I not say because they not been get and they not do a more. Everybody gets somebody where they start something. And this is a thing, it's a movement that is moved, no, you know, better pass that person, no. Can the young can not better pass that person, no? But somebody decided, and anything at the world that somebody they begin them. Once the person begin them, and they take waiting and call. Sometimes they're not doing for you on yesterday, but if they do them for today, not say they're not been doing for me, so I'm not going to join them. Let we join, let we pray for one another. Let we join, let we lift up and put words, because word in a seed, we don't know who that the universe go respond to. We don't know that your God go answer. So let we join today at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let we join the Yunkelas, the people where they organize them. For let we say a prayer together as a one, in one unison, in one voice. God answers prayers. The universe, they answer prayer. All a man believe what he believe for. Anyone where you pray for. Because we all live in this dunya, nobody know that guy go. I get me own faith, what I believe in, you get your own. I cannot trample on your right. To me, it's your right. Where the Anabi Isa, when our Jesus Christ been come, it not be forced to nobody. It just tell their message. Anybody who shall find for another go. Not only business, now and God gets that. Now the Creator gets that. Now who shall find salvation a day. Who shall one day na day. All man get who shall day. So dear, me people them. Una let pray for one, una let uplift one another. Go at the can't left one now because a day on the road. Go give kind words to somebody. Go say a prayer for somebody. Go lift up a person. The sister in the street that is broken. The brother on the corner in despair. The child. Let we reach out to one another. Let we lift one another up. Until we do these things, until we care as a collective people. Collective in collective, there is unity. There is progress. There is no I in a team. There is unity. Everybody, like Mr. Shilon said in the beginning, the car has different functions and different parts. You get the tire, you get the engine, you get the radiator, you get the transmission, you get the alternator, you get the seat, you get the seat belt, you get the steering wheel, you get the windshield, you get the rear view and side view mirrors. Everybody gets a role for play. It no matter who side you there. It no matter if you're not carpenter. It no matter if you're not a lawyer. It no matter if you're not president. It no matter if we don't work together. If we don't care and sincerely say we want for good. Salone we there for so we not ready yet. Until we change our mindset, my people that now in that. Let we look we serve. Let we go into we serve. The way what we they treat we serve. The way what we they honor we serve. Respect people. Respect our differences. Sometimes and the person go can't tell you something what you're not familiar with. But guess what you go do with that? You not go dismiss the person. Yes, because you're familiar, it's scary. But when you go back in your quiet moment, when the voice, when like you say a voice of God, when we call the super ego, The super ego in psychology is that voice where they tell you, say, say you're not supposed to do this. That quiet voice, not go there, not do this. This is wrong. You cannot do it this way. You cannot do it that way. Until we listen to those voices when we lay down and we pillow, we not go able for push we self go before. Because there is a voice, there is a God, then call on God word, then call on Holy Spirit, then call on anyone way you call on a business. But God, the inside we all, and He speaks to us if only we can listen. That's when change begins. When we go within and accept the wrongs and try for correct the wrong, make effort for correct the wrong, mindfulness of the next person, mindfulness of we know this is wrong, and have the courage. They have a prayer. Lord, give me the serenity to accept the things that are not I cannot change. Lord, give me the courage to change the things I can, and to know the difference. The one way for change and the one way I'm able to change for know the difference. So many people them like I can say again, and they call it Mr. Shilon. As I can say, as always, let we know hate we self. We all know Sierra Leone. Waiting we get together is bigger than waiting divide us. And as I can say, if I dey shine again, hey, go work on yourself. Not jealous me. Go work on yourself. I can say, tomorrow the cloud go there over me the sign paper. Hard work. Everybody go work. And the dunya, they give everybody what you work for. No matter any kind of thing. So I love you all. Let we keep hope alive. Let we keep, because I'm a realist. I am very optimistic, but I'm a realist. And the reality on the ground is our people are suffering. We are living in substandard. Till next week, Mr. Shilon, I don't let funa. Me people them, una thank you as usual every day. VOS family. The one that we get for your real later. I left una all na go down. Till next week, by the grace of the Almighty, by the grace of God, we will come back well body, and we not forget the one that we sick. Even some people get family members, let God give you medicine. The one that we don't die go, we believe so. We will pray for them. We pray for let God have mercy and forgive them sin and give them good road and give them the highest of Jannah, the highest of heaven. So till next week, I love you all, and remember God is love. I'm out, Mr. Shilon. Good job for holding down and continue. I still the listen. If I get for kind, I kind. But I still listen, and I'm on the road right now. So I love you people. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fadima. I appreciate the extensive contribution. Wish you a safe trip back on the road. I assume you're driving, but I may be wrong. You may be flying, or whatever the case may be. Wish you a safe journey back. So thank you very much for the wonderful contribution despite your difficult situation today. Thanks a lot. We're looking forward to seeing you and hearing from you next week. And also, just want for let the listeners they know, say, Mr. Tarali, who was on with me earlier, has also left because he has some emergency. He has to drop someone at the airport who is going outside the country. So he had to leave. So we do have a few more minutes on the show. So let me just elaborate a little bit on one or two issues that Ms. Fadima talk about. We'll be to talk about Gambia, and it show we make the control room show we a picture of a surgical room, or back home na Salone can call it theater, operating theater, but operating room where they just do brain tumor surgery in Gambia. And these are major. Anytime you begin to do operation, although every part of the human body is very important, but when you begin to do operations within any country, with the mind, with the brain, with the heart, then you people are really getting very serious in terms of medical progress. So I was very much impressed. But Gambia, once upon a time, until last year, as a matter of fact, we had a renowned neurosurgeon by the name of Aldrich Jones, who lived in Gambia for over 40 years, had left Sierra Leone because he had a falling out with President Stevens and went and settled in Gambia. And for a while, he was very much renowned in the Gambia. And, until last year, when in fact he can't visit Sierra Leone, it died, it contracted the coronavirus and died in Freetown. And even though that Freetown person, but the Gambians, they love him so much that that he himself had made a commitment that if he were to die anywhere else, he had to be buried in the Gambia. So even when in a Salone, a day born, a day go school, when he died in a Salone, just visiting, he happened to die, and body was sent back to the Gambia where he was buried. But he was a world-class neurosurgeon, meaning the kind of doctor where they go inside the head and take care of some serious problem. Now, we don't get medical schools all these years, and I do not want to broadcast from ignorance. It may very well be that the talent and of Dr. Audrey Jones was solicited and put into use in the development of future surgeons in Australia, but I doubt that. I doubt if our medical students and our doctors who've been trained in Australia knew of or ever heard anything of Dr. Audrey Jones. You know, he died last year. And so these are, we've had very smart people, but we've never taken the opportunity for put them in the right position for make a difference, because you cannot have a person who was as good and as famous as Dr. Audrey Jones not to have been teaching young or future surgeons in neurology and other aspects of surgery. But as far as I know, it was not part of the faculty, the medical faculty in the medical school in Australia, or any medical facility in Australia, and his expertise and specialization and specialty was hardly ever, if at all, put into use. So this is not some of the disservice we would do to WISEF in terms of not being able to forget good people who could train future generations for come and make a difference. You know, somebody like that, there are awards they could have been given. There are sections in the medical schools that could have been named after them. But this is who we are. Sierra Leoneans, we are not into the progressive mentality kind of thing. Now, people are going to come, inject mediocrity into the system. Oh, you're welcome. You know, fresh ideas are just not welcome. So I wanted to bring to the attention of everybody about Dr. Audrey Jones. I also want to make salary comparison. What would they talk about Gambia, since we're still talking about Gambia, because Dr. Audrey Jones was a neurosurgeon in Gambia for years. But also salaries, just basic comparison of salaries between we and Gambia. Sierra Leone, they pay their doctors average income or average salary of about 4 million leones a month. I do not know how we educated people expect doctors for leave of 4 million leones a month. I do not understand that, unless there are other benefits that they are being given that we're not aware of. Because I don't know how a medical doctor is going to be able, who is entitled to a certain social lifestyle in society, a lifestyle in society. I don't understand how we expect a doctor for leave of 4 million. Whereas Gambia, a much smaller country, they pay their doctors in 3 times more on average than we on doctors. So you see, education keeps failing. We are failing in every aspect. We just can't run governments. We just can't think. We just can't do what it takes to be competitive. You know, we are not in Gambia. They don't so our class. We're not even in a category. In my school days, Gambians came to us for education, high school, for sure, college. It's only recently they started their own university system, professional schools like law schools and this and that, and they're doing so exceptionally well. You know, a much sounder economy, and we with all the minerals. But we have to remember the legendary reggae singer Bob Marley say, in the midst of water, the fool is thirsty. With all the mineral resources that we have, Sierra Leoneans and Sierra Leone, gold, diamond, iron ore, bauxite, chromite, piassava, all the agricultural resources that we have, coffee, cocoa, palm kernel, and many other things there. You know, piassava, all that in there. With all that in there we get, we still are like the fool in the midst of water who remains thirsty. We just cannot pull it together. The so-called Bukuman, they just don't get it. They don't have what it takes to pull it together. And for the mercy of the international organizations there, like the European Union, like sometimes the IMF, who also, they're like a double-edged sword. Sometimes they do things that are helpful to us. Sometimes they do things that are destructive to us, like devaluing we money them. Give we extraordinary high interest rate for pay down debts where they don't say we're not going to be able to pay, as the Chinese are doing now in Africa. But that said, it's just unbelievable that with all these resources, and we are lucky in the sense that by what we know, they say there are only let's say 8 million of us, which is nothing compared to populations around the country. If you think 7 million, 8 million is a lot of people, Nigeria, Lagos. Well, Nigeria, first of all, has a population of over 200 million people. One city, Lagos, is about the sixth largest populous city in the world. Lagos has about 30 million people. Okay? Lagos has 6 times, or 5 times as many people as we have in the entire nation of Sierra Leone. And we claim to be very smart people. We claim to be very educated. And our education is not producing anything for we. Nothing. Again, I welcome suggestions. Please call in. Let us know. From the time we take over from the white man, tell us any ministry that we run better today than when we inherited in 1961. Any. Let somebody tell us, say, what he would take over from the white man, from the judicial system, to our educational system, to our civil service system, to our agricultural system, to everything. Tell us it's better today than it was then. We can't. We cannot. But we have more PhDs now. 50 million times more PhDs than we ever had when we took over independence. We have more master's degree holders. Way more than we had when we took over. And yet, these high-power degrees have not been able to bring anything for we to elevate the lives and standard of the people. And we have to continue. First of all, isn't something wrong with the system where the guy at the top will get paid every month, but the lower level workers will go for months without being paid? Isn't that a clear indication not only of incompetence, but of cruelty? First of all, we're paying substandard salaries, then people go for months without being paid. And that has nothing to do with APC or SAPP. Because APC person or SAPP person, they suffer. They are suffering. So people should look way beyond that. So these are some of the things that we complain about. These guys, and let's look at the political parties and structure. Don't we have a lot of guys now who were once APC, they not switch to SFPP, and they were once SFPP, they switched to APC? Are those the kind of leaders we really need? These guys who make politics a livelihood, switching people that we definitely can refer to as opportunists. Now outside the grass green. Now they didn't always there. But they don't have for help for plant grass on the other side, so it will be green, So what are we talking about when people are so focused on this APC SFPP issue? Two failed political parties, two political parties that are grossly incompetent, two political parties that are definitely incapable of running a country, not even running a village. Okay? They're just flat out incapable. And yet you see, of course, with the young people and people who are below 40s or 45, where they make all this thing, how many people may APC, they just don't know. Their journey come lately. They're not getting no concept of what these parties mean. They're not getting no concept. Definitely not. And some of them would say, oh, my papa na be APC, my papa na be SFPP, now make me na SFP. Rubbish. You papa na be get PhD, you papa na be get master's degree, you papa na live abroad. What have you taken back? You papa probably they didn't know as much as you know now, and probably you papa be the supporting party out of necessity. But what excuse do you have if you've lived abroad? You know wrong from right. And you continue for sell your country down the drain, knowing that the people are suffering. But let me move to another issue. There's maybe one more issue I might take out before we run out of time. Another issue is what may consider to be arrest, the extraordinary power that the police chief seems to have in Sierra Leone. For all I know, the current police chief is the parliament, is the constitution, now the statutory authority, now the city ordinance. He just at whim, whenever he feels, just to make declarations as to people who will be arrested and people who will not be arrested. For example, when the teachers recently decided that they were going to go on strike, he immediately threatened to arrest them if they strike. He should not have such a power as to encroach on people and constitutional right. There's a reason why we get the word constitution, and we say when a constitutional democracy will come out. Okay, we get. Chief Sovola should not have such a power. Is transgressing on people and constitutional rights. But who are the people entrusted with that responsibility for enforce that power against Chief Sovola? The legal profession, the lawyers. So when he come up with that kind of extraordinary exercise of police power, that on his own, when people are not in violation of city ordinance or any statute, he's going to arrest them because he doesn't like the word strike. What the people in strike for their own livelihood. Lawyers should waste no time to go to court and get an injunction, preliminary injunction against them. So we are making the judiciary lazy. We are not sharpening the minds of with judges the way that they pay so much. Okay? So we too, as lawyers, are doing a great disservice to the country because some of their extraordinary exercise of power here are not being challenged. We have a constitution. A constitution, not even parliament can do something, can pass laws that are unconstitutional. This is a basic concept we still don't grasp. Any law parliament pass has to be within the framework of the constitution as it is written. Otherwise, it will be unconstitutional. But the court cannot determine that unless somebody decides to take matters to court to challenge some kind of a prohibition, you know. So when Chief Sovula come up with if teachers on strike, I go arrest them. What on a legal basis? Does the law prohibit striking for better pay and better labor? You know? So we should keep the judiciary busy despite the awkwardness of the current situation, and not only the current situation, but lawyers have to go to work. Once upon a time, it used to be referred to as a noble profession because it took on then social issues there. Okay? Now, lawyers are more preoccupied with trying to make money. Human rights, civil rights, constitutional rights, property rights they're all secondary. But what are we doing? We're creating a foundation. Because if we are going to leave this degree of insecurity to the next generation, where by the time they get power, law no exists in the country, the law is the police chief, the law is the president. Is that the world that we want to leave for Pekin Grand Pekin? And what I keep reminding people, if we don't build the system, let me remind we lawyers, we judges, we chief of police, that as long as this wall exists, Sierra Leone will continue to exist, for good or for bad. If the wall exists for another 1 million years, Sierra Leone will exist. And at the foundation, what would they build today? Now, ain't that 10 years from now? I would say 10 years, 1,000 years from now, 100 years from now, that foundation day, Sierra Leone will have to live on. The foundation we would lay now. So will we undermine the system because it's more convenient to we their life today? And if we think we are dead last on a lot of things, we'll continue this trend, we will be worse than just poor nation. You know? Because we will be easily taken over because we'll have nothing to offer ourselves. So we leaders then forget more regard and more respect for unborn generation. For them forget more regard for the country. They can forget more regard for people and well-being. So, but I don't think people look at it that way. Like Ms. Fadima said earlier, there are lots of people who say this now we turn for each. This is how they see government. You know? Now we don't turn this. We don't turn, not a we don't turn for govern, not a we don't turn for improve lives, not a we don't turn for improve the country. Now we don't turn this for each, they say. This is what they see government, the function of government to be. Well, if it is, and then we give them that power there, that's the way it will be. Okay? So, certain people who are committed to good governance, and then it's heartbreaking to see the trend down in Sierra Leone, where very competent people are being put through, like the Auditor General. I mean, people can say whatever they want to say. It's a matter of common sense. I mean, this woman is doing a job efficiently, and she's being prosecuted for that. And people are not mindful for putting professional integrity on the line. You know? And unfortunately, international organizations and governments and embassies, they see this, then they condone them. All right? Because we know what the president's office was accused of having done. What did the person say? And I appreciate the fact that the lawyers representing the Auditor General are really making an aggressive move, affirmative move, which is the way it should be. The government is still struggling to even get fundamental rules for conduct the hearing at the tribunal where they say they establish. You know, they don't even get rules in that respect. It would seem to me by now we should get what you call administrative law system. We don't get administrative law. Everything is either criminal or civil. But in situations like where you get all this problem with the um, Auditor General, we should be able to have administrative and courts and law judges, because of purely policy issues we're dealing with. You know, these matters can be brought before administrative court for them to make some pronouncements as to whether, in fact, the president's office had the authority, whether it was constitutional. You know, but that said, I'm just bringing all these issues up so people can understand that we are doing a great disservice to the country. Now we also hear by Ms. Fadima, there is a Twitter that was sent out that the mayor of Freetown also is being investigated because she probably had paid somebody. You know, we should stop playing like this. Because this is what you call gross unseriousness about running a country. You know, because how can you run a country that way? You claiming that this woman, the mayor, has to be investigated when everything is so clear and black and white that she had hired a consultant and paid the person, and it was and show evidence of how the consultant, what the consultant did. And we are so accustomed to people not being able to account that we are having difficulty adjusting our mentality to a mayor who is doing all the right things. And I'm saying that without any hesitancy. Again, I welcome people in for call and say the mayor is a terrible person, the mayor already do this and that, but there's no evidence of that. She is the best to have ever come along from as long as I've been alive. And then we brothers and sisters who are opposed to her, they have not made one persuasive case of corruption or incompetence. They try to obstruct and delay. So they have declared war on progress also. So these are some of the things. Mr. Tarawali, I welcome you back, sir. Thanks that you're back. I don't know. Yeah, so I know. Let me yield and see if you get something where you want to say. I think we'll get about 15 more minutes or so.
Yeah, I think you may talk about the judiciary system and the arbitrary, and also the enormous power within the police chief. I think that continue where Sierra Leoneans a need for looked into, and also you may say something at one time where I believe say plenty some people don't pay attention to where it say somebody get for test the laws, somebody get for challenge the laws. I think that's not our problem at Sierra Leone. For the past 60 years, we don't accept things the way they are. So even when you try for challenge the laws in a good way, people when they don't used to this, how things don't used for be. They come after you feel you do what's wrong. Let me talk about what happened to Blacker. If we say we talk about Sierra Leone as a constitutional country, as a country with free speech in terms of democracy, plenty Sierra Leone don't say when you come out and curse the president, it is a moral issue, it is not a legal issue. It's not against the law, it is part of free speech. Now we will argue, say, do you want that to make it happen? You don't for curse speak person. We tradition says we will not for curse speak person. But at the end of the day, there is no legality behind that. We got bylaws in the village where they say if you curse, you can pay kasi. At the end of the day, nobody not able to challenge the chief in their village. And so people don't see them like say, what in the chief is left court. You know, that's it. But the reality now is that if we say one for practice democracy, there's good way of there's advantage and disadvantage in terms of democracy. We not just say we encourage people for course president, but now we look at the thing the way president they do. The president will come now if you come now your church or now your mosque or during campaign, a lie to you, tell you that I do this for you, do this for you, do this for you, I do all that for you. I they change your way of life. I they do things for your family. I vote for me. You trust that presidency, you put your ballot for her, you vote for her. That president turn and lie to you. It is a moral issue. But people don't see but how that the citizen for react. This is the point. The president get right for lie to you, but you not get right for retaliate, or you not get right for come back and voice out to you discontent. In most cases, this is how somebody want to challenge say in civilized world, this not going to happen. That's a lie. In fact, the civilized world only cost the president there. But the reality is that them presidents here get so much for do, They don't got time for that nonsense they for they listen to that it costs them. They know say it is part of it. They know say people are going for distraction. They know say free speech is a fundamental right. So if you want for be a president, you want for high on that situation, that thing there, make sure say when you come there, this is part of it. Even if you know what, even the Pope and the Imam, then they cost them, let alone you a lying politician. But you see, when it comes to Africans, we don't look at the president as politician. This is where I think it disconnects there. African man says the politicians are liar, but not the president. President is the biggest politician. Now, ain't the toughest politicians, everybody, but then they see the president as the politicians. Then they see, I think, the ministers and also people that below as politicians, not the top. But these people there for 60 years, they don't like say they do water, they don't like say they do this, they don't improve the schools, them, then they thief money over and over. Then they go inside with mosques and desecrate the area, then they go inside church and desecrate the areas and they. But citizens not get no way for call them out, they say they go arrest you. Would I give the police chief that right? This is a question. Nobody right. You get supported now. Nobody can just say no more. Oh, you don't cause the president, or you don't pity the president. Then they can't hold you. Then call and police. We don't know the laws. Ain't can only lock you up. People in the then they trample on people and write them. This is, they don't know say you can challenge them here. They don't know say you're supposed to challenge the court. But they, even the judge, you got plenty of judges that go to talk and they pay them so much money that they get for inside of the government in most cases. So we get plenty work for do. Democracy not to be clean, but for them country for make them improve, for make them go before, and because people challenge the status quo, people go after waiting at the norm for change. It pursue politics. The truth of the matter is the politician, you got a minister in the cosmos because day and night. One day policeman will go arrest them. You know, the person will arrest them. You get ministers and these are people that should be the first people for arrest. Because then we look at as role models. Then on social media, the cost may cause. Then they turn up now places and where people that don't give authority the cost. But when they do, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. They don't see what they do as wrong. Until an ordinary citizen when it gets where it's so frustrated. Because how you allow a teacher where it gets a minimum wage for less than $60 a month, go for 3 or 4 months without pay. But you're not supposed to come out and talk about in frustration. In family they sleep with you. This is the country, this is the problem with we as Africans. The hypocrites between we so damn hypocrite that it's beyond. If now young people they sleep with angry, so you're not gonna take them. Then they pay the one at the top 50 or 60 times more than what they pay every teacher. What they pay what in we minimum wage 600,000. That if you look at the amount of Salones that when they pay, 600,000 a month. And if you look at the cost of living at the country, you go really see why we're into poverty. But when they begin campaigning, they can't start back over. When I can't get them back, I didn't get for can't build this, I didn't get for do this, I didn't get for improve this one. Ask us that money they come out. How we go for generate that money? They're not going to tell you that because they know everything's in a lie. So I can listen. I can't understand people they talk like say, election they can APC back they can't have power. Without they can't change. It's just the same thing. It's just the same thing. Nothing really changes. These are the same people. Nothing is changing here. Because we continue to recycle the same politicians. This same, you watch them two parties and they say for the past 30 years. They just change position or change the name and change the position. But it's the same recycling they go on. So Sierra Leoneans we will talk say for 60 years, the best way they come up with are the same old recycle politicians. We want to jump from this party here, they get a lower cabinet position, now they fight for up a higher cabinet position. Tell me what one of them politicians don't do in their old time in politics for change the life of any Sierra Leonean. You know, we see one. Any politician will do you good, not because he wants your vote. They know they can't do good because they just feel say you know more time you need help. They not will ever do them. If they gang you one bag rice because you're hungry, because they know at the end of the day, they're going to forget that vote from you. These people not to humanitarians them.
No.
Then excuse the end of the day that the same brother and sister they suffer past everybody but then for the go dance back. So it's hard. Because when they talk about the police chief, somebody get for challenge him. But when you challenge him, guess what? That same man where is he made a pandemic for 6 months or 8 months, now he don't come in family in a power, and begin to now say it wrong. But any other person may do him wrong, but this one they do in the same say you know wrong. So we can change the mentality, but how we going to do that? This is the question. Because you fool at 60, not to begin full and again. No. They keep full at 10 or 20, you get away with that. Full at 40 to 60, that's not full anymore. This is beyond dumb. We are beyond dumb. Every 5 years, you don't see that's these politicians. Every 5 years, they give us the same speech. Nothing not they change. The same promises. When we will come to our senses and stop this Boku does, and Boku jump at it, it's because of our selfishness and greed. Because if you say when you go dance, with that person can't power, and you're close to you, now young person, you go better pass the other person. That's the whole concept behind this. Now watch them back on overseas. See, the already fight them primary elections now. These are people that are overseas for 20, 30 years. What's the people they go do for them as Salone go change your life? Then they come back home. They never make campaign now. They make it now. They call prosperity. I like them motto them for prosperity, for unity, for peace, and for development. You not developing yourself overseas for 60 years. Now they can't develop in Salone because he's saying a motto. And I like the slogan there. Honest may be the best, world best. This one I talk and do. Then get the slogan and they put for them. The next one, I don't know what for be. I don't know if in a buy and sell in for car with. All you need is just a slogan and a motto. Then you left and give them. They might suffer and any can make enough for you find make them sweet. They put up by your demise. But how long? Other continents and they go forth and they go forward. What in do with Africa? What that's where we're in Africa. You look at different continents and they are moving faster. Then they go fast. What's wrong with we? And now we back, they build all them other continents there. We were and say we say whenever we will be safe. When the South African, the former South African say we president say we say black man will ever rule in copying black man because we not study after we not get the idea for who we say perfect. But now lie so because the white man say they know it already figures this is who we are. Where they move power small, we don't turn into a tradition, we don't turn to tribe any region. We vote you because of your family, not because you're competent. Now that the white man seeing we. I mean, don't study we, they know we. They don't say we not a selfish, we not selfish people, we not tribal people, we like segregation. I mean, others are able to segregate Africa because of that. They come inside Africa, they know say it's easy for them to separate we. They don't study we. All you need for now just give us one person small money, tell us to turn on in family. So election back they come. The question is, if in NTL they do, which dividend they get for pay? Because at the end of the day, they get for do the same thing. The politician get for win again. They still get for win. They get for go back in the street. They get for get the same rest. They get for get the same money and t-shirt, and we get for vote them back the same way and dance for that 2-3 months and complain for the next 5 years. How long we go for to do this? So again, over to you again, Mr. Shilon, sir.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tarawale. This is the interesting thing, because I keep telling people that what they need to understand, when the politician come to you, listen to him. When he offer you something, take him. Because to me, it's an entitlement. Now, the thing away for not provide for you all this time when you not provide, you shouldn't hesitate to accept what he could give you. The stupidity comes about where you think, say, you committed for do what they ask you, where you know, say, this man not going to do anything for you. When after that day, when they call election day pass. But if you're not a person who get strong principle, that you don't want to take something from anybody who you not deserve, well, kudos to you. So in that moment, if you question that politician, they say, well, pa, all these years I not see you. Or all this time when I get power, may living condition don't go under. Unable to pay picking school fee for me picking them. Unable to pay doctor for me picking them. Unable to do this, unable to do that. You know? Now, I'm not convinced, say, you showing up at my front door or at my community when I vote for you or when we vote for you, will life will change. So just left whip, I will struggle. I get too much pride not for take your money. I would recommend that you take the money, take the food, take the sugar, take the rest, take the oil, whatever they give you. Because most of them, not stolen money anyway. But if you say you stand by a principle, you dare not for do away with your common sense for say this person not deserve your vote. Because that vote, they get a lot of value. Now, we no more, not they attach the value where it deserve. You know, politicians, them, they think where they're not like now smart constituents. You know, they are very, very, very scared of that because if you are informed, not a problem. They like people when they can just flim flam. They flim flam you to tell you anything, you take them. So, with that said, we will continue for educate people. We will continue for tell people. We will continue for let people understand the signs they will for look out. We want people for no say this not going nothing for do party politics. Although a lot of people will still want for be APC, SPP. Sometimes I think it's good for the brain. For this belief say then a APC, then a SPP. So some of them will continue that. They're not going to stop. You know, even though there is no positivity in any of their affiliations there. And for the much younger people, they already claim, but like Mr. Tarawali say, when election tend to come, a lot of way abroad. Oh, we'll go run, go home. We'll go make all the lofty promises there. Check them people them out. Find out what you got to do all these years where they abroad. For himself, for his family. Whether not true for say really want for come help the country. Listen to the ideas then where they try for tell and say in get how for improve people in life. Because the reality is 90% or more of these people, then they come for make up for lost time. They're not they come for help. They're not they come for help, they're just they come for enrich themselves. And you will tell they are so much in a hurry for enrich themselves or for make money that they're not even wait. The moment they get cabinet position or directorship or something, give them 6 months. You will see they end up begin thief people land. They don't even buy the land there anymore. Then they thief up. Then as you go make connection, take them. And then make you feel, then tell you, say, if you're not like, take me to court because they know they're not weaken the judiciary. There's nothing much you could do. Okay? 6 months, 1 year, you will see them begin build not one house, not two houses at a time. But if a government goes, if a government means something, you will pass rules for you minister them and you directors them. And the people who already get a position say, hey, also you not bill before you can have power. I'm not going to allow you for Bilam when we they in power. You know, you could set some basic rules them. But they're not to do that. I mean, there are so many, I mean, it's so annoying. I mean, the audacity, the brazenness of them guys here, the total disregard of the intelligence of the people, because I'm figuring I wouldn't have power now, we can do anything, you know? I mean, and no seriousness about governance. This is so, and they get this wonderful ability to make such profound changes in the lives of people. They are not doing any of it, you know? And then the 1 or 2 or 3 people who get the courage in the midst of all of that who will go there and stand up to them. They want to make sure so they mix you up. For the life of me, why will the ACC want for even threaten the mayor of Freetown with all the corruption that take place? Is it that important that the ACC commissioner go after the mayor of Freetown? We all to see the progress where the woman they make. Unless, if not a wickedness, let's say this woman is out. Are they real? I think they will be content to say, well, finally, we'll get it. We're now getting down to uselessness, to lack of progress. Because this woman, they obstruct to just busy pan progress. We don't care for progress. You know? How can they be so hell-bent in getting rid of competent people is just something that bogs my mind. I'm saying to myself, what in the world is going on? But this is where we are. And like Ms. Fadima said, we get for use we own common sense. At the end of the day, we get for exercise critical judgment. And again, like I tell people them, APC, SFPP are two sides of the same coin. They are two sides of the same coin, unfortunately. They are not going to do much for country. They haven't done much. Creole man say, if bench raw, enough full blind, not the way dry, it go full blind. You know? So I want to see all them guys say how they try for offer leadership to the country where they're not able project or offer. I just say to myself, well, more power to them. But that said, because there is always so much for talk about Sierra Leone, that I'm just you just get for touch on certain issues and let it go. Because we talk, the other thing I think we address this lawlessness, two major things where I just want to touch on very quickly. The arrest or harassment through the loitering law of women, particularly, I guess, prostitutes. Okay, then the police they use that law now for arrest young women, say then they loiter, therefore the police get the power for arrest them. And some of them are not even prostitutes. If you're a young woman, you're at the beach, you're by yourself, you're doing your own thing, whether you did, if you're not there with man, then say you loiter. The police get the power to arrest you. Well, now very old law nowadays. But the interesting thing again, going back to constitutional law, those laws prevail because we will deal with the common law. That kind of law then now can be attacked on the issue of constitutionality. You cannot, not constitutional at all. How do you determine, I have a freedom of movement, me and a woman are going at the beach, so how am I loitering? And if I am, don't I have the right to loiter as long as I'm not committing any crime? These laws should be challenged. We lawyers them are still on that mindset of common law, which in a technical way barely is in existence in Sierra Leone, which they themselves don't know. And a constitution are the prevailing law in Sierra Leone. So if there is a loitering law where exists where they lead to arrest, unreasonable arrest of people, lawyers should be willing to challenge their laws then. They should be willing to get the court, with Parliament not serious enough for strike them, not to everything. So sometimes it takes too much time for Parliament to even strike them law then. To go to court, challenge the law, and this is where it is important also for get the judges very well educated. And these judges should be exposed to other systems. Because one of the trouble we get in Australia, now we not do extensive comparative analysis and see how other countries and they run the system. So we get everything we want set up, we get a group of people and we now get the wherewithal in terms of exposure for set up like this tribunal. I mean, anybody who understands anything about constitutional law knows say the government, President being government just lacks that authority there. Because that's what you call violation of due process. You cannot suspend a person and then without giving him a reason for the suspension and say, I will suspend you, then I will subsequently tell you what I suspend you for when I feel like it. And then as a matter of fact, I'm not going to tell you when you will get your job back. And I may not even pay you for that period. I mean, what kind of system is that? So it's a good thing where the current Auditor General decides, in lawyers, and decide for go that route today. It's just a fantastic thing because this is something they should have done a long time ago if they want for Australia. Now the lawyer then your contribution added to the system. It's a bad system, but they're not helpless. They can go that route. They can take matters to court. The mayor of Freetown can take matters to court. You know, the ACC commissioner is not being above being sued. I mean, a creative lawyer can even check the ACC commissioner for abuse of power, Find some section in the Constitution for challenging authority for do what you do, and claim that it go way beyond the power and the authority, and it misuse. It's an abuse of discretion. It's an abuse of power. It abuse the power of the office. Go on the offensive. Don't wait on this defensive thing sometimes. So drag the ACC commissioner to civil court, taking their position. Because once you file a lawsuit, he is a defendant. He is a defendant. And you can really take his deposition, question him in a lot of things, what might be even helpful on criminal matters. And not get the protection where he thinks they do, but the lawyers have to be creative. But that exposure the lawyers do not get, and they don't want for invite idea. This is another problem. So we're not exposed to ideas because we learn book. That's it. Lawyers don't learn all the book. When you're a doctor, we learn medicine. Oh, you know all the medicine. Like medical science change. 50 years from now, you study dentistry. Once you get that degree, there, fine. You're interested in knowing new machinery, how to operate them. You don't know how to conduct new operation. Other countries, doctors are learning all the time. Lawyers are learning all the time. At Salone, we get the people that we learn book once and that's it. You don't need any additional education. All of that need the hurtry. But there are a lot of things we can do. Then you get a magistrate, we take a crazy man, Blacker, whatever the guy name, and commit him to Pademba Road. Everybody knows this man has a mental problem. That's a cruel and unusual punishment. That magistrate ought to be ashamed of himself. This is a man with a mental problem, and Pademba Road not get any facility for treat mental illness. And you commit him because he said they make derogatory statement about the president. How do we arrive with this lack of sensitivity towards the suffering of other people? A mental person is being sent to Pademba Road. So these are some of the things. The disappointment is across the board. Not the politicians no more, not the President Biole no more. The intellectuals, lawyers, doctors. Look, the medical field. You get Dr. Sandy, Minister of Health, working at CDC. You would think this man left America. He was in Atlanta. He forgot with the greatest of ideas. Employees go for 6 months. You work in America, somebody did 6 months. Now your department, you not get paid. You know to get paid. It's a shame. It's cruelty. So you just don't know whether Salone are the place where educated people then brain they go for die, because when they go there, they don't think anymore. They don't go with ideas. Then just they go, then just drop everything they had and go overseas and then go back home. But that said, there's a whole lot more we can talk, but we don't reach to 6 o'clock limit. In fact, it's a little bit over. So, Mr. Tarali, unless you have something in addition to that, I will stop now.
I'm just because we don't reach over our time, and I will talk about that some maybe the next program concerning even the mayor and the ACC boss. And if we see some tendency way we may not criticize the ACC boss from the beginning, and then see how we look at it. You bring the mayor over and for be something good. But we all know say you know work for Salone people. So, but again, I will shut down and what's wrong with me? Let's say family. We will talk about that on another program concerning the ACC boss, and we will elaborate on that more. And also, don't pass with time, so I'm not old family. Again, thank you for having me, and something come up where get for excuse the show quick and come back. But again, thank you very much for hosting. And so also thanks to you, Madam Fadima, and we audience, them viewers and listeners all around the world. We turn our thank you, and we continue the fight, the good fight. It's not going to be easy, but we know say the end justifies the means. We know at the end of the day, the citizens are probably going to win one day. So thank you all and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Tarawali. Have a nice evening, nice weekend.